Hey guys, and welcome to Diabetic 365, and today we have a very special guest from United Kingdom, UK, and she is Becky. Hi Becky, welcome.
Hi.
So she has been type 1 diabetic from 2009, that's from past 2 years, and she is here to share all the experiences from the past 2 years. Welcome to the show, Becky. So getting started, do you still remember your diagnosis story? When were you first diagnosed and how was it like, and can you please share those experiences?
Yeah, sure. No, I still remember it really well. I've not been well for about 4 months, and I'm really stubborn, and I've been determined that no, there's nothing wrong with me. No, I'm absolutely fine, really. Even though I felt awful, I was drinking absolutely ridiculous amounts of water, and I don't drink a lot of water, so normally it's hard for me to get to drink 2 litres a day. I was drinking 6, 7, 8 more than that. Litres a day, and I was just falling asleep at work all the time, and all the classic symptoms. And I actually only really went to see a doctor just to shut up my friends who kept saying that there was something wrong. And so I ended up going to a walk-in clinic, and they were like, no, you're probably fine, but we'll test your urine if you want. So I was like, okay, fine. The test was just, there's quite a lot of sugar there. You should probably go and see a GP at some point. So I walked over, registered with the GP, went to see a nurse that was there, and she tested my blood sugar, and she told me, well, that's quite high. And I said, well, what is it? And she said, it's 34, that's in millimoles per litre, which is about 560 something. And I was like, well, is that bad? Because I didn't know any better. She was like, well, it's not good. So she went and spoke with the doctor who was the diabetic specialist in the practice, and he says, well, no, you've got to go to the hospital now. I'm like, oh, okay. Not really expecting him to have said that to me. And it was a long weekend. It was Friday before, a 3-day weekend. And all the staff had gone home for the weekend, for the holiday weekend, but I was there for about 5 days. So they said to me, well, you've got diabetes.
So you have been using this pump from quite a while, 8 or 10 months, and you named it as Anneka.
Yeah.
So, can you share some of your experiences with your Anneka?
Yeah, I mean...
and some things you learned by using the pump.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love using the pump, and actually it took a bit of convincing from some friends of mine that actually it's something that I should consider, because for a long time I hadn't seen a pump at all, because they're not very common over here. I only know a handful of people who have them, and I didn't see one for about a year. And then my friend Shelley, who runs a support network over here, she showed me her pump. And she said to me, I know you're going to love this. This will completely change the way you do everything. And I got offered the chance to go on a pump. And I'm so glad that I did it. Because for someone like me especially when I started with that pump, I was using such small amounts of insulin. And my insulin to carbohydrate ratio was so huge that pumping really has made things an awful lot easier for me, because I can make such minor adjustments, and it helps keep things on the whole steadier. But what I've learned is that it's not. I never went into it with this attitude, but I know some people think it's like a magic wand and it's going to take away all the thinking for you, and it's definitely not like that. If anything, I think about everything much harder, because I'm so blessed and so privileged, especially over here, to have access to a pump, that my attitude is I've been given this opportunity to have access to this piece of equipment, that I've got to now work even harder to try and keep things working the way that they should be, because otherwise I'm kind of not being fair to all the people out there who in the UK who are desperately trying to get hold of a pump and just aren't able to, because there just isn't the funding.
So you mentioned about the insulin to carb ratio.
Mm-hmm.
So what was it like before and what was it like after using this insulin pump?
Right. Well, I started off. Well, originally I started off on mixed insulin, which was an absolute disaster. And then when I switched to basal bolus, I was using like 1 to 30 at some point, and people were like, "Just what's even the point? Are you sure you're actually diabetic?" I'm like, "No, I'm pretty sure, thank you." I mean, it's changed a lot more now in that I've dropped sort of like 10 to 15 grams of carbs, so it's closer to like 1 to 20, 1 to 15 at some points in the day. And I mean, I'm having to readjust things a lot now because and there's been a big shift for me in the way my insulin to carb ratio works. Mostly because when I started on the pump last November, my honeymoon started ending, and my insulin requirements just went up an awful lot, and I was having to spend an awful lot of time just constantly taking bolus corrections to bring myself back down again, because I was seeing scores that I wasn't used to, and that was really scary, to be honest, because I was like, this shouldn't be happening. I've got this pump now, and I'm like, well, hang on a minute, this would have happened regardless of whether I've been pumping or not. And yeah, so it's just constantly reevaluating it. I mean, I'm looking at my numbers at the moment about thinking I'm going to have to knock a certain amount off at that point. And as I have several different ratios throughout the day, but sort of thinking where one ends and another begins, just having to rethink that a little bit.
And you also said in your blog that you had this irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, and so this kind of stuff gets onto you when you're too stressed or something like that. So how do you deal with the stress, IBS, and diabetes at the same time?
Well, I mean, I think I've said it on the blog as well, and I'm really fortunate in that, compared with a lot of people, I get off very easily with my IBS. For me, it is a stress-based thing, and the problem with also having diabetes is that I find is that when I get stressed about anything, my sugars start going up or down, usually up, but it affects what happens with my sugars, and when that's affected, I get stressed, and because of the stress, that then flares up the irritable bowel syndrome, and then by that point I'm feeling awful because I'm feeling exhausted from high sugars, and also from the effects of whatever's going on with the IBS. It's just, for me, just really drains me of all energy, and that's not a great thing to do. So for me, it's finding ways to keep myself more emotionally balanced, which makes me sound like I'm completely imbalanced normally, which I'm not, but just to try and keep things calmer, and trying to eat better and keep everything on a sort of rhythm which keeps things steady. I mean, nobody's perfect, it's never going to be brilliant, but there aren't that many resources out there for people with diabetes and IBS, which I think is a real shame, and I'm not the person that's going to create them, but I'd love to find someone out there who was able to, because it can be a bit scary when you think you're on your own, and you're not on your own, because I know a couple of other people in the diabetes online community who also have IBS, and but it's a bit of a taboo, and that people don't talk about it, so you're probably meeting a lot more people who do deal with it, but you just don't realise that you are.
So you're also a dancer, and so you're doing something similar to this, Dancing with the Stars or something like this, right?
Yeah, it's that sort of dancing. It's called dance sports. So it's competitive ballroom and Latin, and I'm still I'm an absolute amateur, but it's something that I really, really love doing, and our version of Dancing with the Stars has just started up again yesterday, which was excellent.